most revered ski racing courses in all the world. It's the Xfinity Birds of Prey. From a distance, this Colorado Rocky Mountain range, always a mesmerizing postcard, but today Mother Nature has intervened on what was to be the fourth and final speed race here at Beaver Creek. In the late morning, it was like a fan turned on. Winds gusting up and down the Birds of Prey course, and after numerous delays were announced, officials announcing just a little while ago that the downhill race has been indeed canceled. Steve Perino has been up there at the wind tunnel on the hill most of the morning and the early afternoon. Steve, just want to make sure you're still upright and anchored to something up there.
I have sought shelter, but there you can see behind me out on the track, that flag there, it's been a drum roll beat for the last hour and a half. Now, organizers said yesterday they wouldn't push it past noon, but they tried to push it past. The forecast was that winds would come up in the afternoon, and they were exactly right. And I knew the writing was on the wall when I saw bib number 1, Vincent Kriegmeier of Austria, sharing a cheeseburger with one of the course workers. Not exactly your pregame meal, but this thing unfortunately has been canceled. It's absolutely too dangerous, apart from being unfair in these conditions. The only race I think you'll see today is that on I-70, because I know the Austrians have a flight to catch at 6 p.m.
All right, Pino, thank you very much. Joined in the booth here by the two-time Olympic champion Ted Ligety. Won 6 times on this course. Ted, you've seen this scene numerous times in your career. Right call, I would assume.
It's absolutely the right call to cancel this race. It's super unfair, super dangerous. You come down there and you can't even see your feet when you're coming down. So there's no way it would be a fair or a safe race today.
Well, they did get 3 of the 4 in here on the famed Birds of Prey course, and there was some good racing yesterday in the first downhill. So, again, the second downhill race canceled. In the meantime, we take you back to yesterday's action, what turned out to be a very exciting run down Birds of Prey. And to lead it off is Johan Clary of France. He's now 40 years old. He has been on the World Cup circuit for a long, long time, almost 2 decades. Never a win, but he did take silver in the Super G at the 2019 Worlds, so even in this twilight of his career, Ted, he's capable of posting some decent runs.
Johan Clary is like a fine wine. He's gotten better with age. It's amazing to see that he's having his best years of his career in his late 30s, and now he's into his 40s, so it's amazing what he's able to do. He is built like the prototypical speed skier. He looks like an NFL tight end, and he's so strong, so big. And this top of the course here, the flyway, is dead flat, so it shoots somebody like him who's on the bigger side and get the momentum going. It's relatively easy, but it's easy to also lose speed there because of all the terrain. And then you come over the brink right here, and right there you were looking at the brick wall, basically, of the net there. And it is so intimidating.
One of the most intimidating tracks in all the world. It just demands so much skill from all the racers. Never a win for Clary in his career. 8 World Cup podiums, 3 of those coming on the famed surface at Kitzbühel, including age of 39.
And he took a spill in training, hurt his knee a little bit, but he's coming back strong. He actually was looking good on his skis right now, so that's impressive. And skipped out on the Super Gs to
the Super Gs. Both the first skiers down the hill, both those races, Ted, on Thursday and Friday, did not make it down. So Johan Clary trying to maneuver his way around the gates here and get across safely and post the first time.
And downhill, you have those training runs, so it's a little bit different than that Super G scenario where you're going pretty much blind into it. So they have a little bit of an idea what's going on, but still, it's totally different snow conditions after having 2 Super G races, so it's running faster, that's for sure.
Some of the most demanding jump, and Clary can now hear the roar of the crowd. Almost 20,000 strong here assembled at Beaver Creek. And Johan Clary, 40 years old, in a 141.5 that was the first time. Ryan Cochran Siegel, second racer down. We mentioned coming back from an injury. Suffered a broken vertebrae in the midst of this season, and when he won his first race, he was arguably, Ted, the fastest speed skier in the world. And his return to racing began in Solden at the start of this season, the GS. So it's been a long battle back for RCS, but maybe being in this 2 slot bodes well, because it's the exact same spot where Travis Ganong, his teammate, ran from yesterday and got his first podium in the Super G.
Ryan has the ability to be amongst the fastest in the world, and before he was injured last year, he was the fastest in the world in the speed events. And he is a great technical skier. It's a hill that really lines up well for him. And so I'm really expecting him to let it go. He's had a little bit of trouble adjusting to the snow conditions here, but I think because the conditions have gotten harder, it'll suit him better. And he is such an amazing technical skier. He has the ability to go so fast. He's so clean down this top pitch.
Quick attempt into the green, so up on Flannery in the early portion.
And this is where he had trouble in the training run, but this is looking like great skiing. See, he
hung on there nicely.
That mistake right there actually is okay because you're still in the steep pitch, and so you're able to accelerate down this pitch really quickly, and hopefully he's able to keep the momentum going. This is really the most important turn on the course, be able to keep your speed up for the rest of the way down, because from here on out, there's no big steep pitches to get your speed back going.
So as you can see, he lost some time, but not a ton after hanging on there. So Ryan Cochran-Siegel, the son of the 1972 Olympic slalom gold medalist Barbara Ann Cochran. It is a family of skiing, and RCS is looking pretty good here.
His skiing is definitely looking better than it has been the last couple of days. He's definitely moving through the turn better. Looks a lot more confident on his skis, and he is able to generate speed. That's really a key ability to ski GS like he does. You know, that's where he can separate him. Here's where he can really generate and use the slingshot of those skis.
Back in the green by better than a tenth, and Cochran-Siegel can hear the roars as he comes down. Cochran-Siegel building after that injury, more than a half second up.
That was a great run. That was a really on the bottom section. Like I said, he was able to really use the slingshot of the turn, and that bottom section is a really crucial part. So to see that he was able to make up a half a second at the bottom is a good sign. There's definitely some mistakes in there, but this should hold up.
That confidence. He was 19th in the Super G in the first one on Thursday. Didn't finish yesterday. As we get up top to Beaver Creek of Switzerland. He's won the last 4 downhill titles. He had some pretty good showings in the first 2 Super Gs, 12th and 14th, but this is his specialty.
Beaver Creek's consistency in downhill is unreal. In the World Cup downhill, there's such a variety of tracks, and they suit various different skiers from track to track. He will be on the podium in any single downhill race, and it is just a testament to his skills. When you watch somebody like Gil Montari, who is 6'5", probably 250 pounds, that is probably 5'8", much different body type, but he has such an amazing touch on the snow, and I'm kind of surprised that he's this far out actually off of Ryan on the top section.
I was going to say, we had Travis Ganon push that early time yesterday, and Voits is having a rough ride.
Yeah, that's a big mistake. That's also right where you're trying to carry all your speed for this bottom section, and so there's a couple more turns where he makes the speed, and Ryan, this is showing that Ryan's mistakes in the top pitch were a little bit detrimental, but I think Beat lost a little bit of speed down here.
He's just 200s back of Ryan Cochran-Siegel, so maybe it looked a little worse than it really was on the clock.
This will be a big test, yeah.
2 tenths up now.
This is good skiing. Like I said, Beat is able to be the best skier in downhill over the last 4 years on any track on the World Cup.
And he comes off that jump just lying down. He gained a little bit more time on that last split, now more than 2 tenths up, and he negotiates that one well.
Yeah, that was big air. When you go big off that last jump, it's hard to get the pressure in the fall line for these last 2 turns.
So the silver medalist from the last Olympics in the downhill comes across and takes over the lead by 2 tenths in a wild ride. But he'll be in the leader's chair, and Ryan Cochran-Siegel will exit. Still in second, though.
This is a wild run. Ooh, head through the panel. He is lucky to keep it in the fall line right there. And wow, that's a really athletic move when he's going so fast. And it's such an intimidating part of the hill. That was amazing recovery.
Coming up, another podium threat. Austria's Matthias Meyer, a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, as we continue from Beaver Creek. From her friends. And we're ready now for Matthias Meyer of Austria. Won the first downhill of the season in Lake Louise. Off to a fast start. He was second in the Super G here, 4th in another one, so a couple of top 5s for the 2-time Olympic gold medalist who will defend his Super G title at the upcoming games in Beijing, China. So he is a big factor in this downhill. First of 2 on this weekend at Beaver Creek.
Matthias Meyer is skiing so well right now, having won Lake Louise last weekend In training, he is amongst the fastest every single day, and his touch on the snow is second to none right now. You can see he's skiing with so much confidence, just able to let the skis run so flat. You saw the skis swimming right there. That's when the skis are kind of floating back and forth on the flats, and that's a sign that you're skiing with confidence and letting the skis run.
Mentioning one, the gold in the Super G, his other gold taking the downhill discipline in Sochi in Russia 7 years ago. He's got the 3/10 lead.
That's good skiing out there. This is deep into the everybody else, not to the other guys. Everybody else is coming out of that turn, throwing a little bit of snow up, and so that was really clean out there. Now it's good skiing. He was maybe a little bit blocky, but wow, he was pulling time again on Voits. Voits again had that mistake up there, so there's definitely time to be had versus Voits, but that's great skiing. He's got the top speed coming through here, so that's a good sign he'll be able to carry a lot of speed through this flat section.
Yeah, a little bit out of sync there, but still gained 3/10 in the last split. He's the son of Austrian skier Helmut Meyer, won a silver medal in the 1988 Calgary Olympics in the Super G. And his son Matthias Meyer is continuing his hot run here early in the World Cup season.
And this is great skiing. Oh, last time I'm actually surprised by that. Well, you can just see they ski with so much confidence, so dynamic through these turns. And that is good skiing. So we'll see how it goes. Oh, let's scrub on the bottom there.
The winner in Lake Louise trying to make it back-to-back downhills. A little bit off track there, but he still hangs on into that 3/10 lead over Voits. And that pushes Cochran Siegel into the third spot. And Matthias Meyer survived that one. It was a rough one. But they're all kind of rough on the Birds of Prey.
He had a great run going there. He probably opened the window maybe for some other guys, but you know that's gonna be a tough one for these next guys to beat.
So with Matthias Meyer taking over the lead, this is his teammate Vincent Kriegmeyer, who finished second to Meyer at that downhill, the opener in Lake Louise, and he had himself quite a world championship. Teddy won 2 golds, not only in the Super G, but one in this discipline, the downhill.
Vincent Kriegmeyer's technique and speed is second to none. He lines up so well on his skis. His shins are always parallel. He has the ability to work for so much speed, especially on the technical sections. It's always a shocker to me that he's not amongst the best in the world in giant slalom. He does score points in giant slalom here and there, but you know he's really an amazing speed skier and already fast on the top here. And this is where I really expect him to shine.
And another one of those racers off to a great start this season. He also finished 5th in both of the Super Gs here at Beaver Creek on Thursday and Friday.
Now it's clean through that turn, and this is where he can really lay out the big angles, working for speed, grabbing his tuck in the middle of this pitch, and that's just showing he's confidently.
9 World Cup wins now by the 30-year-old Austrian, including his first coming here at Beaver Creek in the Super G, but he's lost some big time there, almost a half second back.
That is a shocker. That may just be him over-skiing it. You know, when you did in the tuck like that, all the way down, it normally means you're skiing fast, but sometimes it also means you're over-skiing and trying to look too hard and work too hard for the speed in the turns and just a little bit digging too much. Ooh, and that's going to cost him a lot of time going that deep into the flats there. This is where you carry all the speed to the bottom, and out of his tuck, he's going to lose a lot of time on that section.
And when you consider that Brian Cochran Siegel is safely in there in the 3rd spot in this really uncharacteristic off run by Kriegmeyer, it appears that the American will stay on the podium for now, and that could be huge, dodging this guy. Down comes Kriegmeyer into the line, see where he stacks up into the 5th spot. So the top 3, no change. Matthias Meyer, Beat Voits, and RCS.
Yeah, his skiing is just so beautiful up here. Look at these angles. It's just so cool to watch him ski, but not his best run out there today.
We've got one of the real contenders coming up next. Dominic Paris of Italy. And here is the Italian, 32 years old. 15 of his 19 career World Cup wins have come in this discipline. He didn't finish the first Super G on Thursday, was 24th yesterday, but he's been a force a long, long time in the downhill.
Interesting. The Italian coach, yes, who was absolutely livid with the Super G results. Their best Italian skier, 18th place, and he said, we've been getting good training. Interesting conundrum because Dominic Paris should be great on this track, and he never has been. And I'll put it to you, Ted. If you have never been good on a track, how do you dig yourself out of that kind of hole?
Oh man, I mean, Dominic Paris he's a prototypical downhill skier, but he's worked on his technical ability a lot over the years, and this is a really tough top section, and it's not necessarily something that suits his skills, but he's worked really hard over the years to work on his turning ability, and so, prototypical downhill, he's a little bit off of his balance, leaning in, not really fully engaged in the ski, but at the same time, he has this amazing touch, and he is, a big guy who's able to carry a ton of momentum for this bottom section.
Disappointing World Championships, which were held in Cortina earlier this year. And it was also disappointing for Sofia Gosha, who did not even participate in those World Championships in Italy. But Sofia Gosha had herself a race yesterday winning the women's downhill in Lake Louise. So Dominic Paris is trying to follow up on that, but he is bleeding some time now. 7/10 back of Meyer.
And Meyer skied so well up top there. Dom got a little bit late on the flats, but that just shows he's so big and strong that he's able to still, make time on Matthias Meyer on that flats, even with getting a little bit late.
He won a World Championship downhill silver all the way back in 2013 in Schladming, Austria, Ted, where you had your finest worlds. But today, the ceremony held earlier today, Ted, you alongside Mike Imhoff, the president of the Bell Valley Foundation, being honored, and then knowing that you have a section of the course named after you forever.
That was a real surprise and honor to have, a section of the course that I raced on so many times named. I was just speechless.
All your family and friends here, so congratulations tonight. That a lot of us will be attending, so there'll be more to celebrate Beaver Creek. As you take a look at Bryce Bennett, all sorts of technology. From the U.S. team, and Toyota invited them to test their.
So Toyota invited us out in North Carolina where they've got a wind tunnel. People are looking at you like, where are you going skiing?
The first thing that we dug into at the wind tunnel was our own positioning. So whether it's, how flat your back is or how far out your hands were, we were doing 5-minute interval tests going up to 80 miles an hour, seeing how much drag force you have.
When you're in the wind tunnel, as soon as you move an arm, you can see the drag resistance. So you can just optimize that position.
You always hear coaches or people talk about, well, do this, do that. But to actually see the numbers laid out on the screen is really helpful. When I'm on the upper flats tucking, I'm thinking about what I learned in the wind tunnel.
It's an awesome experience, and it's awesome that Toyota is a partner and is able to provide those types of resources that actually benefit us.
So plenty of fans, obviously, for Bryce Bennett. The American skiers have a lot of their family and friends here because it is the lowest stop of the World Cup circuit for the men of the United States, and Bryce Bennett has a huge contingent shot onto the hill, and he hopes to put in a good performance for him after really not giving it his best, or he gave it his best, but the results didn't show at 39th and 43rd on Thursday and Friday in the Super G.
Bryce is struggling to find the real comfortable equipment setup right now. He's gone down a couple of rabbit holes this summer in training, trying to figure out what he feels most comfortable on. And what you feel comfortable on in that summer training is not always what translates into high speed, icier conditions as well. Key sections are going to be fast because he is longer. He has such a fast start, but it's really about these turns up here. If he can be clean, be confident, stay on the outside ski, that is actually clean looking skiing right there.
Now Bryce Bennett, that first split, just 500s back. He had a pretty good World Championship performance in the downhill. With a top 10, finished 10th in Cortina. 6 feet 7, folks, going down at 80 miles an hour or so.
Yeah, I like what I'm saying here. In downhill, it's actually an advantage to be taller. You lose a little bit of speed here and there because of the aerodynamics, but you have these huge, long shock absorbers where you can absorb all those terrain and stay more connected, especially in a place like Val Gardena, which has really been a specialty of his. There's so much terrain on that track, and he's able to build so much speed on all these little pieces of terrain. And Beaver Creek doesn't have all those little places where he can use that to his advantage as much, but still a huge advantage, especially when you're just like over there.
So Bryce Bennett bringing back a little bit of time as a large best to come, including the winner of Thursday's first Super G, Switzerland's Marco Odermatt. Also yesterday's winner, Norway's Alexander Amat Kilde, as well as American Travis Ganong, who had that career best third in the Super G yesterday. Back here on this Sunday at Beaver Creek, the fourth and final speed race that was to be held here at Beaver Creek canceled because of high winds, so we've been showing you yesterday's downhill. So, with that, we send you back to yesterday's action from Colorado. So here is 24-year-old Marco Odermatt. A lot of people, experts around the world, think this is the skier to watch out for years to come as the best in the world. He can do it all. He's a triple threat. He won the first Super G on Thursday, and he has been on a tear the last three downhills dating back to last season, including the world's all top fives.
And Dan, not only is he talented, he is tactically so savvy. I talked to his coach. He said a lot of the older guys will defer to him in an inspection. In fact, Beat Foyts, during the Super G inspection, who 10 years his senior and certainly more accolades, follows him around in inspection. On the flip side, though, Marco Odermatt wise enough to know that Beat downhillers in the world, so he follows Beat Foyts down. But one thing you can say that the guy not only has speed, but he has one of the greatest minds right now in ski racing.
He has yet to really break out and have the same results that he's had in Super G and Giant Slalom in the downhill. And it's just a matter of learning the courses, getting the touch going. He sometimes overskis the downhill a little bit because he has that technical ability. And you would think that he'd be able to make up time with Matthias Meyer given on this top section. But half a second back and still in touch. This is a section where Marco Odermatt, that's a big mistake. That's going to cost him a lot of time. Getting pushed wide there, he just traveled a good 20 meters distance longer than Matthias Meyer, so that's going to cost him.
We saw a little bit of this yesterday in the Super G, Ted. Some of the snow breaking up. I guess it just depends on where. Just lucky to hang on there. Lost some big time. More than a second back now. So he's got a lot of work left here if he's going to get on the podium.
Yeah, that was a big mistake.
The G-forces that we put our bodies through racing downhill are extremely high. Birds of Prey in particular, there's one section called the Abyss, which is you go off Golden Eagle jump, land, and you go into a big compression into an uphill jump. The speed's pretty high, you're pretty tired at that point. Last speed into a compression, your body is the shock absorber. You get compressed into the abyss and it launches you out. And if you're not balanced on your skis, the G-forces will just take you for a ride. You'll crash. I mean, you have to be so strong and so committed to standing on the ski and being balanced. That's kind of why we train so hard in the off season. I mean, we spend so many hours all summer long in the gym getting strong just so we can handle the forces that we're putting our bodies through.
Another part of the great technology to take advantage of for these speed racers. Enter Xfinity Race Mode as Ganong gets ready. So Matthias Meyer leads right now. Alexander Amat Kilde of Norway is up top. Ninth in that downhill on Lake Louise. But he won the first Super G race here on Thursday.
Winning that Super G race yesterday is giving him so much confidence. When you're coming back from a knee injury, getting that first win under your belt is a huge confidence booster. He was maybe not feeling so great after the first Super G, and then had a 9th place in the downhill in Lake Louise. But now I think this is a track that really suits him well, and going with the confidence from yesterday, he's going to do things.
Yeah, you can say he is back with a big ride. He's 3/10 up on Meyer early.
And that's a testament to how strong he is. He's able to push so hard out of the start gate. I mean, it is like a 100-meter sprint out of the start gate there. You have to push so hard. You're basically trying to use all your cross-country skiing skills. And as a Norwegian, he has those in the bank. And so strong down this pitch. This is really clean skiing.
That win yesterday, it was his 7th career World Cup win. He took the overall title in the 1920 season. He's still staying in the green by 2/10.
This is shaping up to be well. He had a couple little bobbles there on the steeps, but he was able to keep rolling, keep it in the fall line. This is great skiing right now. And this is actually the section where a lot of guys have been able to pull back time from Matthias Meyer, so if he can stay clean, he should be able to build on this lead.
Just as he's trying to edge us at Meyer from the leader's chair. Alexander Amat Kilde gaining some time now, better than 2/10.
These final 2 turns are crucial, and there's definitely time to be had here, so this is going to be tight.
Kilde trying to make it a downhill title here at Beaver Creek after winning the
feel it in those turns, you can really get a lot of speed out of it.
So after Kilda electrifies the crowd down below, Travis Ganon wants to give them another reason to cheer after his first Super G World Cup podium yesterday.
On a course like Beaver Creek, this long flat out start is not something that generally suits Travis. He doesn't have the fastest start in the world, and this top flat is so long, and if you don't build the speed right out of the start gate, you can lose a lot of time. But then again, he also has this amazing touch in the snow.
A couple of career wins, 5 career podiums with that podium yesterday for Ganon, who's early 4/10s back, but Beaver Creek has been very, very nice to him. To say the least, silver in the downhill here in the second World Championships held here at Beaver Creek in 2015.
This is looking really solid skiing up on this top edge. He was so solid up here yesterday in the Super G, and this is looking really solid here as well. And he has this really calm, smooth style, and when it's on, he can make so much speed out of the turns.
He didn't ski too badly in the first Super G where he finished 22nd. If it wasn't for a mistake or two, he said he would have been right there, so he's very happy with the way he's been skiing.
Threw up a little bit of snow on the top of that turn, and that's just a sign he threw. He's just throwing it a little bit sideways, and that's not going to be good for carrying speed across this flat.
He's lost some big-time speed, more than a second and a half back. The top American right now is Ryan Cocker-Siegel in the 5th position.
Travis has this uncanny ability to pull back a lot of time at the bottom of downhill races. Kilda though, I don't see him being able to pull back time on that because that was amazing skiing.
Skiing here in the United States with so many family and friends here. Loses some more time, better than 2 seconds back, and just inside the top 20 at the moment.
It's always a fine line for Travis. He has this amazing touch on the snow, but sometimes he just smears the skis a little bit too much. And when he does that and he also pushes hard on them, he loses a lot of speed. When he's at his best, he is just so subtle on his edges.
So Ganon, after the podium finish yesterday, will gear up for another downhill tomorrow. In the meantime, Alexander Ahmad Kilda looking for another victory after the win of the Super G yesterday. Can you believe it?
Mom, hurry! Our show's gonna start soon! I promised I wouldn't miss the show, and Mommy...
Accessible World Cup race course. So here we go with Jared Goldberg. Again, the top American right now, sitting in the 5th spot, Ryan Cochran-Siegel. Jared was 46. Super G, and did not race in the second Super G yesterday.
I actually don't know exactly what was going on with that, with not racing yesterday, but he took a good tumble actually in the downhill in Lake Louise. He was okay, but whenever you take a fall in downhill, your confidence gets a little bit rocked. So he's one of those guys that has tons of confidence. He grew up skiing at Snowbird, and when you grew up skiing there, you are used to going to rock and roll and hitting jumps and cliffs. And so he's the type of guy who loves that adrenaline rush of downhill.
And the Goldberg reputation, Ted, is that he is one of the fastest in training. He is just trying to bring it to the hill on race day.
The last couple of years, he's really been able to translate that training speed into the races. Just not on a consistent basis every single weekend, but he has that ability to use his technical ability and also that free skiing and his ability to take a lot of chances and survive.
Had a good season last year, 4 top 20 finishes, including a 6th in Belgardena down.
He just lost a ton of time in that top section, but down here, he has just to use his touch and feel him, losing still so much time. So he's really losing touch with Kilda right now.
Never a podium for Goldberg, now 30 years old in his career, born in Boston, lives in the Salt Lake City area.
He just didn't look really comfortable on his skis top to bottom. You can see his arms flailing around. That's just a sign you're trying to gather your balance. And when you're doing that, your skis aren't tracking the thing you just know.
So Goldberg just outside the top 20. Matteo Marcelli of Italy is up top. 1 career win for Matteo, and it came right here at Beaver Creek 9 years ago in the Super G.
He actually had a great Super G race yesterday, coming in, I think it was 19th place, but starting at the back of the pack, starting in the 60s. And actually I saw him at dinner last night, and he just had a baby 3 weeks ago. Was home for 3 days with them before heading over here to Europe. So he's looking forward to getting back home, back over into Italy. So, you know, emotional time over here, but, you know, trying to get the most out of these races.
Yeah, for some of these guys, Ted, you would know, you hang on to your career love, ski racing, well into your 30s, you start having a family, you got to go to Europe. In your case, these guys got to kind of hopscotch the globe. It's not easy.
It is not easy on the family life. For the Europeans, it is definitely more easy than the North Americans. He's having a great run. He's the fastest on that steep section. He is really a good technical skier on the pitches. He is able to win here in Beaver Creek on the Super G, and he has that ability to make a lot of speed here, so this will be key to see if he's able to hold it on this flats here.
Lost a little bit of time, but still in touch. If Marcel can kind of hang on here, maybe he can be a surprise guy on the podium.
Yeah, this is great skiing right now. This is really impressive. You know, he's been more of a Super G skier in his career, but staying in touch, and 9/10 of a second, that's still in podium race speed and have a good bottom.
He's got to stay about a second back, no more, to have a shot here to get on the podium. Big Out Points is in the third position right now. So down comes Marsalia. And lost a little bit of time just outside the podium. So Big Out Points, after taking a big hit off the panel, is looking good for what would be a career podium number 54. Meyer, the 31-year-old from great weekend in the second position. And then it's Alexander Ahmad-Kilda, who could walk away here from Beaver Creek with 2 in a row. He's got the leader's chair still here from Beaver Creek. And Stephen Nye. He has to keep his body in shape, and Stephen gives us the download on his body conditioning in this Xfinity.
Confidence and conviction starts in the gym. Knowing what's required of your body throughout the winter, knowing the forces and the endurance and the vibrations and the hits you're going to take all winter long, you have to build this machine. Making sure my legs are strong, connecting my lower body to my upper body. The core is massive in skiing. Over 100 kilos, 200 kilos, 220 pounds when I'm racing. Maintaining that weight, building that mass and bulk within my be able to move that. When I have my body in the right place, then I know it's time to really push on the snow and see what's possible.
Emotional story played out early today. 9-1 Olympian from 2006 gave his bid from those Torino Games to a Paralympian named Thomas Walsh. And earlier today, Walsh returned the favor in an emotional meeting between the two.
I want to remind you of something real quick.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you remember, but when I was sick in the hospital,
Yes.
you gave me one of your trainer books.
Yes.
And so I have that here with me. And that has meant a lot to me. As you've been my friend throughout the years, and you really inspired me and carried me through a lot, man. And so this is the bid that you gave me, and you signed it. Now you're making me cry.
You're making me cry, baby.
It's all right. And what I wanted to do, Steve, is I'm not sure if but I just want to give you one of mine, because I think that's very special. That this bid carried me through a lot, and I don't know if you know the impact that it had on me. So it's not the biggest trophy in your collection, but this is one of my Paralympic bibs I want to give to you.
Walsh, a cancer Survivor, getting that inspiration from Nyman, and the two getting together again earlier this morning. Emotional meeting between those two. And Nyman, a very popular guy on the European or the World Cup Tour for so many years, Ted. And just another reason why he is respected by so many out here. Here is Walsh getting ready to watch his man come down. Stephen Nyman, who if he was on the next Olympic team would turn 40. He would be 40 years old. He's been at it a long time. And we'll see what kind of run he can turn in here with his good friend Walsh waiting for him.
Stephen Nyman's a consummate veteran, sharing so much wisdom with all the younger guys coming up, especially on that speed team. You know, telling all the guys all the little secrets and all the World Cup hills. He's had so much experience. And wow, 10th up on the first split, half a second out here. He's had a little bit of tough struggles getting used to, putting his swollen ankle into a ski boot and adjusted back and forth between big boots, small boots. So, this is good skiing so far.
And it is amazing skiing based on, I'm talking to him this morning. In fact, I was right there, and it said it was the first time he had cried in forever. So he's skiing on a motion right now. He hasn't skied on a difficult course, he said, in the better part of 2 years. And he's got some new skis on, and he says a little bit more suited to his style. He can drift a little bit better, but this is well and above what he's been training at this year.
Nyman has been a victim of injury the last few years. He missed all of last season after tearing his Achilles tendon training in the summer, and he is hearing it from the crowd as he comes down.
Lost some time in the bottom. That is a good stepping stone for Stephen.
Those tucks through the years, Ted, in his career. And his good friend Thomas Walsh, our Olympian, giving his buddy the thumbs up. It's what it's all about. Inspiring others. Stephen Nyman did just that with Walsh.